Hey everybody, welcome to the Geek Reloading Podcast. I'm your host Adam, and as always, my co-host Josh.
Hello.
And this episode, we have the best sidekicks in gaming. Now, this list is definitely not complete. This is going to be a multi-episode thing, but these are the ones that came to our mind right off the bat.
Yes, and also, just so you know, we're already working on the worst sidekicks. I'm looking at you, Navi. But,
that is true.
Yeah. All right. So let's get started. You got the first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And also, just like the previous episode, this episode is not in any specific order. They're just ones that came to our head.
Yeah. Just randomly thrown at a page.
Yeah. I want to preface that because some people have some major organizational, but not us. We're just winging it. Anyway,
we're always winging it. Just assume we're winging it unless we tell you otherwise. And then it's going to be worse. I know. There
have been a few times we put in a lot of work, and I'm going to tell you right now, the results were not always worth it. Sometimes they were, but not always.
Sometimes. We'll see.
Yeah. A solid 60%. Anyway, so best sidekicks in gaming. We'll start off with one that it's through the entire series. Witcher, you got Roach. Roach's horse.
Okay, so I got a question real quick on this.
Yes.
So far, started Witcher 3, working. Mm-hmm. He is a cool horse, but why is he a best sidekick for you?
Okay, so first off, he's always there, all right? He's always there.
Yeah.
Some of the best glitches are based around Roach. That's another thing. It's not necessarily for a good reason, but it's an awesome reason. Here's my favorite. Here's why, okay? You just started Witcher 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember if it's in the DLC. I think it's in the main game. Geralt talks to his horse. He always has. Okay. Yeah. That's just a normal thing, right? But in one of the quests, you take psychedelics and Roach talks back. So something to look forward to. All right.
Nice. I will look forward to that.
And it was hilarious as balls. But Roach, he's a trusty steed. And I think that, sure, you got Epona. Epona sounds kind of boring to me. And there's only so many carrots. All right. So whatever. But Roach is just a solid horse. Okay. It's just some of my best times in that game were just riding through the countryside, looking at the beautiful scenery. And it was just me and Roach. All right. I'm just throwing that out there. So that's why he immediately came to my head. Okay. Anyway.
And the next one is a much more... You had to put that first, so...
Yeah. The next one is a much more functional and amazing character, and it was the one that Josh came up with.
So this one's, for me, is Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite. Now, the thing with Elizabeth, and I was thinking I was going to have to defend here a little bit, because, one, Elizabeth, when we kind of started hearing about BioShock Infinite, I was super excited, but when it was pretty much told, hey, this is a escort mission the entire game, I was like, I hate you so much.
Yeah it could have gone Ashley from Resident Evil 4 very easily.
Exactly. And that's what I was afraid of.
Look for her on the next list. She'll be on the next one.
That was what I was afraid of. But Elizabeth, not only does she help, does she make things happen, she is a perfect integral story. She's more a part of the story than the main character Booker is. The protagonist you're playing as. He's such an interesting character and such a well-developed character. I absolutely love it. So
yeah. I loved her addition to the gameplay. One thing that was a bit overwhelming is that she would just throw me ammo and I had no ammo. When I had so much ammo, I'm like, I don't need any more pistol ammo. I don't need any of that. But I loved that she could tear and she could add an entire, oh, look, here's a full-on gun turret. Use this against this big boss. I'm like, why, yes, I will. Thank you.
That is a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mechanical George Washington doesn't know what's going to hit him. It was really nice. It was really useful.
Yeah, what I really liked is when she tossed you stuff, it was in the gameplay, but it wasn't interrupting the gameplay. It was part of that fight. It worked well with that fight. It was never yes, okay, thank you. Yes, we're kind of in the middle of something, stop bugging me. It was, hey, I've got this for you, Chuck, and you're done. And you're back in the fight with extra stuff.
It really didn't feel like it tore away because you were getting sent stuff in the middle of a firefight, but it was literally as short as her throwing something at you, the animation of you grabbing it, looking at it, so then your brain can recognize what it is, and you putting it away, and you were back in there. It wasn't anything that took you away or pulled you out of that scene.
Yeah, and it was one of those things like you never died during that. It was always an
No.
addition of the gameplay. It was never a detraction.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah. Anyways,
So the next one, I think that we disagree on this. I think it's one of the
Absolutely.
best sidekicks. Josh thinks it's one of the worst sidekicks.
He will be on my list for the worst sidekicks. And if you want to have that argument right now, let's do it.
No, that's okay. We'll save it for that one because I feel like they need to hear both sides. We're going to hear the positive side for this one.
right.
And then we're going to hear the negative side
I'm going to
next
keep
up.
quiet then. I'm going to start drinking water.
Okay. So I put this one on there just because this is a character that he's not even really a sidekick. He's a side character, but he was fun and his writing was really well done, especially for the time. That was Claptrap from the Borderlands series. Claptrap specifically in Borderlands 2 is one that I, off the top of my head, is my favorite version of Claptrap. The reason why he's the best sidekick is he's just a sad robot who just wants love, but also he's super offensive and I love him. And also his birthday party, his sad birthday party in an alley was one of the most entertaining, really quick side quests ever. That was a really fun one. But since Josh doesn't like him, we'll just easily gloss over this one for now. But everyone agrees he's really good.
Really quick, I'd just like to say, Mad Moxie, she's fun to look at. She's smart. She's funny and lots better side character.
But she's not a playable character.
But
Claptrap
Ellie
becomes a playable character.
Yeah, and a DLC that was terrible and nobody likes and Claptrap sucks.
Yeah, there's some gaps. Anyway, so the next one, I'll let you go.
So this honorable mention to my wife, who is one of our many listeners. She always listens to me and she lets me know.
I'm pretty sure it's her, my wife, our friend Austin, and maybe one of our moms. That's about it. Anybody else? We appreciate you. Just throwing that out there.
No, we appreciate all of you. Every one of you.
It's true.
Wives or no wives,
including the wives and the friends.
Yes, especially. So when I brought up that we were doing sidekicks, she was like, "Well, you have to talk about Luigi," and I was like, "What, Green Mario?" Because she hates when I say that, and I was like, "But Tails can fly." And she got kind of angry.
Yeah. So here's the thing: the people who get upset about calling it Green Mario were always playing as Luigi, like they were the player too. They had to be the player too. I'll bet you that she was player 2 growing up. And that's why she's like, no, Mario needs to have some respect. He put some dignity on his name.
You know what? The best thing that Luigi has done for the whole Mario universe is like fandom comics. Like really just some of the like just him and Daisy are a hot ticket item. Let's just leave it at that. But really, like this actually kind of came around. Both Adam and I agreed. Like, really, when it comes down to it, you have an amazing sidekick that we both just kind of forgot, and everyone does, especially when they jump off the back of Yoshi and leave him into the pit. Because Yoshi is the man. He is an awesome sidekick.
Yoshi is the one that's willing to sacrifice when it counts. He's the one that's willing to take the hit.
He's willing to carry a baby all over the place. Little baby Mario, and Yoshi's there. He's cool.
Yeah.
He gets
he's
his
also
whole
willing
family.
He's also willing to eat the enemy and then poop out an egg of them, which is in its own sense a very weird and useful capability.
Yeah. Yoshi, like seriously. He's got
Yoshi knew what was up. Also, Yoshi's a great character, and he's become a staple in his own in all the games, including Smash and Mario Kart. So good for Yoshi, but he's the real sidekick. Green Mario, aka Luigi, is realistically a secondary player. He's not a sidekick.
No, not
anyway.
All right. So the next one is, I was actually doing a little researching, reading online a little bit, and I had completely forgotten about this game, and I forgot how much I love it. So The Darkness, based on a comic from the 90s or early 2000s, whatever, like The Darkness is such a cool comic, but the game was super fun. First-person shooter, but the Darklings, like you could summon these little imps, and they would go and do different things. Like you could have them go and like suicide into stuff. They could go and distract people. They could just go and like attack people. It was great. But seriously, the little Darklings, they also were hilarious. So it was such a fun thing, and that was actually a really good game. So I had to put it on here just because I forgot that I liked that game so much.
That game, first off, it was a solid shooter.
Yeah.
The darkness mechanics, not only the darklings, but the dark tentacles that you had with the monster mouths and everything.
Yes.
Those were awesome.
Yeah.
And then something interesting about the darkness. This was a 360, early on in the 360 generation, probably, right?
Yeah. It was really early,
So,
I think.
you actually, in the game, big old spoiler, your girlfriend is kidnapped or killed, one or the other. Anyway, but before that happens, you're hanging out with your girlfriend, and she is watching To Kill a Mockingbird. And you can actually sit down and watch. She's like watching it on TV. You can sit down with her and watch the entire movie.
You actually get an achievement for sitting down. I think you have to stay there for 10 minutes.
Yep.
So, but yeah.
So she just like cuddles up with you and she just hangs out and everything, right? But you can actually in the game watch the entire thing.
That's really cool. I never knew that. Huh.
Yeah. So if you want to watch To Kill a Mockingbird on a TV in a video game, it's possible.
Now I'm gonna have to. That's one of my wife's favorite books, so maybe I'll have to make her watch the movie.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe there's an achievement for that one too. I'm not sure, but I do know that I remember seeing that, and I was like, "That's interesting." And I remember sitting there for a long time, like, "Holy crap!" They put the entire movie on
the
here.
whole movie in there. That is really cool. Like that's a cool thing for a video game to do. Like, wow, that is not many other forms of entertainment can do those kind of meta, integral things like that. That's just such a cool thing about video games.
I think we need to do a really fun Easter egg episode like that, where we talk about cool things that you didn't know that you could do in video games. Because I got a ton of those did you know garbage facts that are just things I've accumulated throughout the years. So that'll be interesting. We'll do that too.
That is a good one. That is a really good one. We'll have to put it on the list. So yeah, I just had to put that on there. All right.
So this is probably tied for my favorite sidekick in gaming. And that is Ellie from The Last of Us. So Josh doesn't know because he hasn't played The Last of Us.
I know, but I do know. Yeah.
As I roll my eyes all the way back to my skull and the retina's detached. Yes, Ellie is one of the best gaming mechanic sidekicks ever. I'm just throwing that out there right now. Line in the sand.
Okay.
And the reason why is because Ellie is a proactive sidekick. Like, Yoshi's helpful, but you have to tell Yoshi exactly what to do. And you have to tell, like, you're controlling Yoshi. That's the thing. And so Ellie, the best part about Ellie was the fact that if you were fighting against hunters, like guys who were actually trying to kill you for your supplies and everything, and you were overwhelmed, she would jump on the back of one of them and just start stabbing with her switchblade. Or she would throw a brick at somebody to distract them, and then you would be able to run up and then smash them into the ground. And also, she had a joke book that she walked around with, and she would tell you terrible jokes just periodically. And so that's what she's probably my favorite one on this list, and she was amazing.
That is, I can understand, and it actually, I'm changing up the direction for my next one as well. So
sure. So I'm throwing that out there. And one day when Josh actually plays the game, I think he'll agree with me.
I probably will, and I probably should sooner rather than later.
I will give shit to Josh until he plays The Last of Us 1 and 2 pretty much forever. That'll probably be forever.
That and The Witcher until I actually really get into it.
Play them all. Oh my God. But hey, I appreciate you're playing The Witcher. Okay.
I am. I'm trying. I'm really trying. Well, no. So I wanted to add this in just so Atreus from God of War did not finish the game, but when you were saying how Ellie will just jump on the back and start stabbing him, that was one of those visual moments that I really loved about God of War is when, like, out of nowhere, out of the corner of your eye, you look over, there's an enemy, and all of a sudden your son is jumping on the back and stabbing him with a knife. Or like,
so good.
You can just like, hey, shoot this guy and, distract him with an arrow. Like, it was such a good, like, that was even better than Elizabeth because he was an active, like, helper, not just the passive helper that Elizabeth was. So I had to put him in there and just connecting it with Ellie because that was such a cool visual for me.
Yeah, and Atreus with the gameplay with him, what was really nice is that you had a really solid blend of you controlling what you want him to do and him proactively doing something. Like you were able to say, hey, launch this special attack so then I can do this and do that. And then just every once in a while, you just see an arrow fly right past you and shoot a guy in the eye. And you're like, oh, and he's also helping just to help. That's awesome.
Yeah,
you know?
you didn't have to control him, but you could if you needed to. Like,
absolutely.
Such a cool mechanic on that. So, I mean, he was a great... And, I mean, you know, I know the story because it's a little bit and I should have finished it. But, you know, he's a big part of that story. And
yep.
he's also, you've got this God character that in all the other games, he's this giant, you know, God killing, you know, God. And Artreus is the point where it connects him to humanity. And yes. I love that. Just as a story, the Sidekick version of that in story-wise is such a great connection.
Really, really solid. Such a good game. I'm so stoked for the next one.
That I can see how that's going to be great. I just need to get through that story again.
So the next one is a classic favorite from Josh and me. Obviously, if you listen to any of the rest of the podcast, you know that this game is close to our hearts. But we are going to say Cortana from Halo 1 through 3. Josh was very adamant that we only say Halo 1 through 3 is Cortana an awesome sidekick, whereas Halo 4 through 5, things get a little dicey. They get a little hairy.
Well, and it makes sense. It's story wise. Like 4, she's kind of breaking down, and she shouldn't be still going.
Yeah.
But like playing 4 lately on the Master Chief Collection, like she looks rough. She looks rough. She looks like she's been doing some drugs, and and been messing with some terrible people.
Digital meth.
Yes, super digital meth. But her in 1 through 3, she is amazing. She's a perfect connection point to Master Chief.
And even in the lore outside of that, when you start getting into the books, the outward storyline, how she attaches to the Spartan Project in general, all that kind of stuff, it's an awesome, Halo is one of those games that if you don't understand just how big the world actually is, like, sure, it's a shooter game and it started in kind of a consolidated, here's the story to here's the short end story to continue this game going, right? But they've made an entire universe that you can explore through the Halo franchise, and it is very, very well fleshed out. And it is something that I encourage a lot of people. Give that a shot. Go to Halo Waypoint and just start reading, watch movies, watch the movies that it came out with, you know, like Halo Legends and what is Fall of Reach? Is that what it is?
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. That's what it is.
Seriously, Until Dawn, it was just like a side project for a few people, and that thing is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I was so surprised. Like, you see Master Chief just very little, but it is awesome. Anyways.
I'm pretty sure that the person who played Master Chief in Until Dawn is the same person who played Colossus in the X-Men movies.
I could see that.
I think that's him in the suit. I'm pretty sure. And also, we were supposed to get a Halo movie from Peter Jackson, and then that didn't happen. And I'm still salty about it, because I feel like that's something we could do. That's something we could definitely have, and it would be good. It would have been good. You should have just ran with it, man. I don't know why you didn't.
Yeah, I know. I wish he had too, but really, like, Forward Unto Dawn is like the prequel to that movie that we want. Honestly,
I know.
But
we just didn't get the movie.
We just didn't get the movie.
Anyway, we're gonna move on. We're moving on.
But yeah, Cortana, awesome.
Okay, so we mentioned this name earlier, and I think that for half of all of the people who grew up in our age range, this was the sidekick. Because on one side you had Mario and Yoshi and sort of Green Mario, Luigi. But on the other side, you had Sonic the Hedgehog's sidekick, Tails.
And Tails was a cool fox that could fly.
Tails was a badass character, actually. He was useful, he was functional, and he was adorable. Those are the only 3 things I need in my life. That was the bet. Like, he was just a great character, and I think that it was a great great spin-off of Sonic, you know, because Sonic, Hedgehog, Tails, Fox character. I think that it just worked really well. It was really good, and it added a mechanic that wasn't there already.
Now, I was kind of like, I don't know about Tails, like personally, and I thought were gonna go Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog. I like Knuckles. I like Knuckles a lot.
I never liked Knuckles. I thought he was kind of boring. Like, okay, you can climb walls with your dumb Knuckles, which didn't make sense because they weren't claw shaped. They were just little spikes on his knuckles. Like, that doesn't make sense. You can't climb a wall that way.
But I mean, like, the fact that you can play Knuckles through all the other Sonic the Hedgehogs was awesome with that cool cartridge. But,
okay,
like,
yeah, I'll give you that.
You glide into the stuff. So, like, yeah. You didn't have to spin into things.
Is Knuckles a flying squirrel?
No, he's a echidna. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Echidna.
Echidna. What the hell's an echidna?
It's an animal.
We're gonna stop the. Oh,
nope.
I will search this later.
This train is going.
Now, okay, to talk about Tails though, you also have to talk about the fact that Tails, by extension, is essentially Sonic without the running, right? And instead, he's capable of doing the helicopter move, right?
Yes, but I will say in Sonic 2, he was Sonic, but he could also fly. Like
that is true.
He pretty much was just as fast. In 3, they changed that, so he wasn't as fast, but then he could still fly. Like that made a little bit more sense.
They tried to create a different balance.
Yeah, they did a lot better in 3, I think, but it was still like he was just as good as Sonic, but he could also fly.
Now, I don't know which one came first. I'm assuming it was Tails, but it does seem like they just did the exact same idea of Sonic and Tails when they did Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong. Do you remember Dixie Kong had the hair that she could helicopter with, but she was pretty much the exact same as Diddy Kong?
Yeah, no, I don't. I really don't like the Dixie Kong and Baby Kong. I just don't like. Diddy Kong was fine for me, and all the supporting characters of those, and the first couple of, yeah, but after that, no,
it just didn't pan out.
No, I just.
Okay,
anyways,
so
let's just not go there.
I've got the next one, and Josh was very, very quick on the answer for this. I put down Daxter from Jak and Daxter. Now, what's funny is that Daxter doesn't actually do a whole lot, especially in the first game. He's literally just comic relief, and he sits on your shoulder. He actually doesn't have a mechanic, but he also was just awesome as a character. Like, he was the character. Jak is very boring, and so the emotional response and reactions and everything happened through Daxter. But Josh was very quick to point out that, well, why don't you bring up Clank from Ratchet and Clank? Clank you actually use. Like, he has tools that you use. He turns into a helicopter. He does different weapons, things like that, right? Well, it's because back in the PlayStation 2 generation, either you played Jak and Daxter or you played Ratchet and Clank. Very rarely did you play both.
Yeah, they were one or the other.
Yeah, and I definitely fell into one camp. It was Jak and Daxter. So that's why I picked Daxter, just for the comedic relief. He was awesome. His animations were great. He literally was just there as the hype guy for Jak. That's all he was. He was just the hype dude.
Think of Jak being Link. Like, he's just stoic, quiet, doesn't say anything, doesn't really do much. And then have, like, Daxter as, like, a non-annoying and terrible Navi. Like,
that's true.
Yeah, so.
That's true, because Navi was... anyway, that's for the worst sidekicks one. I'm actually excited about the worst sidekicks one.
I think that's gonna be even more fun than this one.
It's gonna be really good. Anyway, Josh, you got the next one.
So the next one, and this is my last, and actually I like Adam's last too. But so I was really thinking about this, and I realized the companion cube in Portal. It's such a weird thing, and I kind of feel dumb about bringing it up as a sidekick. But if you play through Portal, you start getting this feeling like, yeah, you have this voice, this GLaDOS voice, kind of telling you what to do, but it's very lonely. It's very like you're really deep into solitude, and it's kind of hard to not kind of fall into that. And they've done it so perfectly. It actually kind of makes you think that way and look at things different ways. And then, like, they have all these things saying, hey, the companion cube is not talking to you. Like, we've had problems with this before. Like, they've obviously had problems with this, and they have warning signs. Like, it's not talking to you. It's not telling you to kill people. It's not telling you to die. Like, it's really like people have connected with this cube. And then all of a sudden I noticed I started doing it. Like, I started trying to take the cube, and I felt bad the first time walking through, because in each elevator you can't take something with you. So it like disappears the cube. I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's kind of sad. Like, I went through all the trouble to bring it with me, and nope, can't. I'm like, oh, why?
The companion cube, to call back to one of our previous episodes, the companion cube, I mean, outside of the portal gun, it's one of those iconic parts of Portal. Like, when you see a companion cube, you know exactly what people are talking about, and people have definitely embraced the companion cube as an integral part of Portal, for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's a really weird thing. I didn't realize it until I really looked back on it and thought about it. You really do kind of get connected to this block. That's all it is.
Hey, it has hearts, good sir.
It does have hearts and nubs.
It has hearts on it.
Like,
it has hearts and reinforced edges. All right,
that's
corners. Yeah. How dare you?
All right, I love it.
So my last one is definitely more so for my wife than for me when it comes to the best sidekicks in gaming, and it's only because she's beaten these games literally probably 50 times.
A million times.
Between all three games, she's probably beaten them total 50 times, and that's the Pikmin from Pikmin. Now,
I love them. I love them too.
They're functional. They're useful. They're willing to fight for you. They'll do the dirty work. They'll die for you, and also they're adorable. I think that there's a lot of different things there that they do. They bring a lot of value when it comes to a sidekick, and also the versatility. How many, like, you got big ones. They're really good at lifting things. They're really heavy. You got ones that are good for water, ones that fly. There's all sorts of cool ones. And so
I'm saying this, like, they're better than Olimar. Like, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah, or his dumpy ass brother or whatever that is in the second one or in the third one. Like, it's an entire family. There's like a baby there. I don't know. My wife loves these games. She's stoked for Pikmin 3 to show up on the Switch. Like, she's literally counting down the days on that.
Same with mine.
Yeah, but I mean, the Pikmin themselves, honestly, the game is such a... It's a puzzle game, It's a puzzle and manage your resources kind of game. But the Pikmin really do make it really entertaining.
Yeah, and they're adorable, and you grow them. They come, it was so cute, and then they die. Their little souls go to heaven. And it's kind of a little bit heartbreaking. It
is. I think that they're a good addition to this.
Yes, I really think so. I mean, they did get the little sad feeling when they died, and when you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Same with the companion cube, is like when you had to kill it and put it in the fire, like you were like, oh,
it's hard to sacrifice them. It's hard.
It is. It's really hard. And you knew, like, there were some things you were like, they're gonna have to die here, and I'm just gonna have to let it happen. That's the only way to get through here. It was just
that is
sad.
true.
But yeah.
So that's our entire list of the best sidekicks in gaming. This was obviously like the list we did on episode before. This is just beginning. We're going to have another one where we're going to list a whole nother set of great sidekicks in gaming. But yeah, besides that, make sure to like and follow us. All the information is at the end of the podcast. We hope you guys are liking it. And by this time, hopefully, after the last episode, we already have a giveaway in order right now. We're gonna start. We have a few different ideas. Me and Josh have been brainstorming about different types of giveaways. So we're excited to send these to you. And yeah, we hope you guys like this episode, and we'll talk to you later.
Take care. Bye.
Geek Reloading Podcast with Adam and Josh. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Have a question? Email us at geekreloading@gmail.com. Theme song titled Rocket by Kevin MacLeod. You can rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast service.